Hello. For brevity's sake, let's just refer to the main character as Frankenstein.
Yes.
Because otherwise, we're going to lose like 0.2% of our lives if we just constantly say Frankenstein's monster.
I suppose.
This film does not deserve us being highbrow.
No, it does not. Also, you need to be more shot.
Omega! T-shirt! It's a Christmas present from Omega.
Excellent.
Um,
We saw Frankenfurt.
What would have happened if Aaron Eckhart had played Batman instead of Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight? But stupider. Okay, I haven't seen Underworld 2, 3, to whatever number it got to, 18. I have seen Underworld 1, and I expect the other Underworld films are stupider than Underworld 1. And but this one is definitely stupider than I'm almost impressed.
So, Frankenstein's monster. Well, we know he kills Frankenstein's young bride. Buries Frankenstein and gets attacked by demons. Demons want to take him away. And the gargoyles save him and take him back to gargoyle headquarters. And then just like, no, I don't want to help you. Fine then, take some weapons and go. Okay. Then he went and wandered in the wilderness for 200 years. Then he came back to fight the demons.
He came back speaking perfect modern English.
Yes, except for some strange things where nobody was using...
Everyone was American or English for some reason. Now the film, okay, you're in there in the 1700s, and I thought it was Paris because I figured the gargoyles were living at Notre Dame because Notre Dame was famous for gargoyles.
I thought it was Prague because parts of the skyline really looked like Prague to me.
But then, in the modern day, he's in the same place, and then there's like this police officer who seems to be definitely American. I think he was black, and it was just like, wait, is this America? Wait, because the gargoyles were given this cathedral to live in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And I'm fairly sure that there were no Europeans or maybe there were in America, at the time of when this thing was supposed to be set up, and this was their place given to them, maybe before the cathedral. And
by the angel Gabriel, apparently.
Yeah, and the gargoyles. Someone's watched a lot of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, someone has played a lot of Assassin's Creed. The gargoyles look like Ezio's Black Hood costume. They're just like, they land and they're like, hood up. I'm in eagle vision.
And then there's the demons who, their wonderful plan is, I don't care about spoilers because if you're not, fuck it. They want to reanimate people because people are reanimated without souls, and therefore demons can possess those souls and do shit.
So if we bring back these corpses, they won't have souls, so we could just take over their bodies.
And there's only a limited amount of gargoyles because
God won't send reinforcements.
Because Quartermain's a dick.
Yes.
And then, so now they're in the modern day, and this woman who's really, really blonde, who I'm fairly sure was in one of the Underworld films, because half this cast was in Underworld, and considering this seems to be set in the same universe as Underworld, this is really confusing. She's like working on reanimating human beings, which is, a little bit behind the times. I'm fairly sure we worked out how to do that quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Admittedly not in the shoot a guy in the head, 6 years later dig him up again and then bring him back to life sort of way, but you can have someone dead and then bring him back to life. It's not a massive deal in science anymore. I mean, as far back as the 1930s, you had a guy experimenting with and succeeding in killing animals and bringing them back to life. And we can do it now, just a very different way. But it's like, this isn't a mind-blowing thing.
I personally know people who have been declared legally dead. I've been declared legally dead, but that was a clerical error more than me actually being dead.
Are they suggesting that people who are declared legally dead do not have souls?
Oh dear.
This is unfortunate implications, dudes.
A new kind of depression. Anyway, this film is stupid.
Yeah, we got our unseen war between demons and gargoyles, which Even though it's really fucking stupid idea of demons and gargoyles, I suppose gargoyles are put on like church and stuff. They are supposed to defend the church against evil or something. So okay, but their unseen war, which happens in the shadows. Even though when when either of them die, it creates a mini light show. Turn that light off. Okay, put your lighter. Light something. Okay, we're in the darkness here. This is our unseen war. I'm just about to kill
Die!
Demon is dead. Now let's try the same thing. Put the light on again. Observe. Do it again. Kill the demon in the light. Slightly less noticeable.
Whenever the demons descend to hell, they go in giant plumes of flame. It looks like somebody standing on the ground with a flamethrower. Whenever the angels die, they go on a like 300-foot wide column of pure glowing blue light up to heaven.
So this is why, because this is why it is better for them to fight in the shadows, so that whenever they die, they're even more noticeable.
It's
Fuck, they could die in the middle of like a gay pride parade in the middle of Rio de Janeiro and people would still fucking notice.
The gargoyles, they're angels, but they're the gargoyle order and they can turn into gargoyles. Pull Frankenstein up in this, because whenever he comes back to wherever the fuck this is, city, from the north, he's got his 2 sticks that they give him and he's beating the shit out of demons left, right and centre. They're like, you got a human killed! It's like, well, I didn't kill him. But it's supposed to be in the shadows, the humans can never see us. By the way, let's have a full-scale battle out on the street.
Hundreds of people! I think the only reason the gargoyles don't let humans see them is because the humans are either fucking blind or they all happen to be on holiday whenever these things happen. And then they have the bit at the end when they kill the big villain guy, played by, what do you call him, who should have been the Doctor in credit instead of Christopher Eccleston? Him, Bill Nye.
Yes.
The non-science guy. Bill Nye, the acting guy.
Yeah.
And he gets killed, and he blows up not only the building he's in, but like for hundreds and hundreds of stories below it. If he really wanted to kill the gargoyles and he was dedicated, he could have just walked into their base and committed suicide.
He literally condemned their entire house to hell. It makes me wonder, they've already pulled Frankenstein up on getting 1 human killed. I'm pretty sure that every cleaning staff, every security member, well, some of the security were demons, we established that, but I'm pretty sure there were non-demon members of staff there, including the 2 scientists.
Yeah, otherwise, you've got this demon who's, joined the legions of hell on Earth to defeat God and shit, and then he's like really excited and only to get told he has to be a cleaner. Which is a funny webcomic, I suppose, but...
Oh, you don't want to go in there. It's like Satan himself filled that bowl.
Okay, so they're wanting to reanimate. The demons wanting to learn how to reanimate corpses so that they can stick more demons in them and everything.
And
okay.
it's, they have a thing on the chest that it's like
1% reanimated, 2, 3,
3% reanimated, 99% reanimated.
And then, whereas 100, suddenly the human dead body turns into a demon face, even though they're just possessing a body and they're not actually converting the body. And then later on, Bill Nye thinks that Frankenstein has got possessed, and Frankenstein's face has not changed to Bill Nye. That really should have clued him in that it wasn't actually possessed. But he's like, "Oh no, you've been possessed."
Speaking of the demon faces, they looked awful.
Yes, they did.
Awful. It's like the demons, they walk about looking like normal people, except, scruffy and in dark pastel coloured t-shirts.
And the sort of person who'd appear in a
hoodies.
Stuart Beatty movie. And then they suddenly burst into fire, and they all look like... Okay, this is like season 1 Buffy the Vampire Slayer prosthetic makeup.
They can apparently at will just, have their real demon face showing, but still be human-shaped and shit. And it's like I have a face. Suddenly I have a demon face. It's like 5 times the size and shitty prosthetics.
Honestly, Manborg has better demon makeup than this film. And Manborg, the entire budget, probably equal the amount of money spent on giving enemas to Aaron Eckhart.
This is a better demon face than the ones in the film.
Horrific.
Horrific. Yeah, do say nasty things in the comments, bitch.
Although, okay, they were talking about, we got this demon prince Nibiru. I don't give a fuck. It turned out to be Bill Nye. But when they were like, oh no, Aaron Eckhart doesn't have a soul or anything. You know what they could have done for a twist? Rather than having to do this stupid possession shit on the 1%, 2%. They could have had it so the demon prince guy, they never found him. And as a twist, it's like, no, I'm Bill Nye. I'm not Nibiru. You are. And then it's like he's got no memory, but the second he was reanimated, a demon possessed him, and therefore that's why they want to reanimate all these things, because they will already be demons.
Isn't that Kaiser Soze?
I don't know, but this would have been a much better plot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, look, I am a demon, but yet I'm going to try and now get redemption because I spent 200 years wandering around, not knowing my past and being a better person. It's like
Joe Hill spent 200 years wandering around, not knowing his past, and not trying to be a better person. Wolverine.
150. But if nothing else, it would have cut out the really, really stupid computer tracking of exactly what percentage possessed someone is.
They also have the computer screens out of the Avengers. The ones that are just a pane of glass with CGI on them.
And the director of this, I saw a lovely interview when this first came out in America, where the director thought to give advice to Marvel about how to do shared universe building. Yeah!
There was a shot in the middle of the film where blonde sciencey girl is being followed by demon head top honcho minion number 3.
One of the few ones that she'd actually run into and knew the face of, so when she looked around and spotted it was him, she was like, oh, look, I'm being followed!
Yes, but she's being followed by him, and then there's a shot-for-shot pull from Highlander. Seriously, if Frankenstein was played by Christopher Lambert, that could have been put into the Highlander film. It is literally...
Aye, Frankenstein!
Frankenstein. It's the exact shot of the Kurgan chasing... I want to say Deborah. It's not Deborah.
I don't care. But this, like the Underworld movies, is basically in a really shitty version of the World of Darkness, World of Shitness. And oh boy.
But anything can be made into a holy weapon by scratching their symbol, which is a line going vertically with 3 horizontal crosses.
Well, that's I believe it's a Greek Orthodox symbol. It symbolizes the cross. You got the main part, then you got the stake at the top where they wrote Jesus, King of the Jews, and then the footrest as well. So the three triple cross.
I'm just describing the holy symbol.
They might want to know that this is actually a holy symbol.
Stop being highbrow.
They might want to know.
Okay, if you want to know,
the film got the reanimation of Frankenstein wrong and not accurate to the book, by the way. Electricity wasn't in the book. Wasn't mentioned. Go.
But anything can be made holy by scratching the symbol onto a weapon. Now, it's established at an earlier point, if a demon's touching this weapon, their skin will be like, I'm burning and you're torturing me. And if you sort of smack them a little bit with it, they burst into flames. So Frankenstein gets a hidden blade that he keeps up his sleeve. Not Assassin's Creed at all. And he scratches the symbol and he's got this little punchy blade. But
why doesn't he carve it onto his fists?
Why doesn't he get... Yeah.
His knuckles.
2x4 and a Sharpie.
Or even better, why don't the gargoyles have like a bat signal type thing, which has it on the front, so like they can just fire a room across it and like hit everything with the signal.
But at one point, the demons break into the church, the cathedral, and steal the woman. But they're quite happily standing on this giant symbol on the floor, and on the walls, and every candle holder, and every.
And in case you think you've got to hit it before you actually feel it. You had a scene where Frankenstein was torturing this demon by putting his head a couple of inches over some holy water, and he was still melting and stuff. And for that scene, then it was like, oh look, dunk his head in there and throw him back, and then he explodes behind him. Far better if he just dunked the guy's head in it. We have the shot from behind, and then suddenly the body drops, as though you dunked his head in and his head dissolved, and then he could let go of the body. But no, we had to be flashy and throw him that way. So, look, at 700 billion explodey fire shit, which was really interesting when Blade did it. But in the last 20 years, things have got a bit stale. It's right in front of the screen. I'm so impressed.
Speaking about other shit, this movie had no idea how buildings work.
Yeah.
We walk in the ground floor. I go down some steps to what appears to be a slight basement level. There is 300,000 million floors below us to fall down while fighting. And
there's no visible structure to it. Everything's held up by scaffolding. And there's like machinery flying around. It's like some
not even that one. In the first, the fight with the mini demon with the sticks.
As well, yeah.
This happens multiple times. They go in the ground floor and then proceed to fall another 10 stories or so down.
There must be some sort of movie rule about villains and just having extra space. Because they had, this woman was like, I am doing this, this guy's like, I am doing something with a body here inside some sort of, warehouse thing, and, I got a tiny bit where all my stuff is right in the middle of the room, but everything else is like open space.
Also, well done,
Miles.
well done keeping a low profile, by the way. They had a gurney and 3 body bags lying outside the delivery entrance to the warehouse. That's a really low profile, guys. Just leave the bodies lying out there until I can be bothered to work with
I don't
them.
care. Humans don't actually exist in this movie unless they're directly connected to the plot. And have you seen Underworld?
Yes.
Okay, well, Underworld was co-written by the big black guy who speaks in burps. He was in this.
Yeah.
He was also in Underworld playing a werewolf, and he like came up with a story about this. But this guy, I've only ever seen him in films that he had something to do with the writing of, and it's like, why do you sound like that?
He made his demon face blacker.
He was the worst looking demon of the lot.
And his skin was darker. It's like, a black guy being a demon. We'll make him a black demon instead of red.
And he's the... It's like he was the... Okay, in person, in character stuff, this guy, in usual things, he's a really big black guy and really
he
muscular.
talks like this.
Yeah, he's the sort of guy that you could easily make threatening on camera. And usually people do, but when he was a demon in this, he was like the least threatening and most comical of them all. And they killed him within 2 seconds.
This guy's walking about being terrifying the entire film, and it's just like, bleh, I look stupid now. Oh shit, I'm dead.
Yeah.
This movie's stupid. Also, the armory that the gargoyles have with all these weapons, it's like, we have all these special, stupidly forged weapons. Oh, look, they all have our holy symbol on them. It's like, that's like the exact armory room out of Assassin's Creed 2.
It does look like it. It's like... Well, the guy was trying to create a shared universe between demons, gargoyles, the world of darkness, Frankenstein, and Assassin's Creed. I suppose he does have some experience that he could help with Marvel, but I doubt it would be good.
Yeah. That's another thing. The weapons that some of the angels are using in this, really good for cloak and dagger shit, not good for combat. They have a blade about this shape. It's a small crescent blade that fits there with a handle going at about 45 degrees to the actual tip of the blade.
A bit like a steak knife crossed to the tonfa.
Yeah, kind of. I would say more, not a steak knife, but a kunai? Not a kunai. Fuck, what's it called? The Gurkha! A Gurkha crossed with a tonfa. But, yeah, that thing has no tang. That's going to snap off in combat. You can't block with that. And it's a stupid weapon. And the angels have no idea about combat. It's like, hey look, there's a huge demon horde out there. Oh look, they're all going single file up this one staircase that gets to this room. Guys, let's take 5 or 6 steps back into the room to let them all crowd at the door. I know what I'll do. I'll go flying instead of defending my own post.
Yeah, let's have our... stay here and defend the place, but I'm going to go off and fight them outside because no reason whatsoever.
The way that the demons were infiltrating the place could have been avoided by one boy with a sword standing at the top of them stairs.
Or if they had some guy with a sniper rifle, or even just a regular rifle with bullets that had carved on the holy symbol, which would have been seemingly easier than doing hand-to-hand combat. That way, they could have got some priests, and the priests could have had, guns and shit, and they wouldn't have had to depend on gargoyles.
The Holy Order, they refuse to send us reinforcements. We'll have to do something about this. 200 years later, they still haven't sent us reinforcements. We'll have to do something about this. Recruit priests!
Yeah.
Give them guns.
Or at least... Okay, we have... Okay, just think about the horrors of the real world right now. We have to live with a world where this movie exists, and yet there is no Gargoyles movie.
Oh.
Yeah. And you got gargoyles, okay, the gargoyles go from stone statues to flying stone statues.
No.
To humans, and what's the fucking point of having your gargoyles being living stone constantly if they're not going to act like stone and not die the second they're hit with something that wouldn't destroy stone?
And they are the most awful CGI I've ever seen.
No, we have seen worse.
Okay, they're some of the most awful passable CGI I've seen.
That's a better description.
Because,
yeah, R.I.P.D. Remember that?
Yeah. But the gargoyles' faces...
Looked vaguely like stone, I suppose.
They look vaguely like stone cows.
The good thing is stone, like plastic, it's not natural materials and stuff, so it's hard. It's easier to fudge. Yeah. It's probably about as good as the R.I.P.D. CGI, but the R.I.P.D. stuff's supposed to resemble humans and humanish things, so that's why it failed.
A friend of mine would refer to how the gargoyles look, though, as they forgot to add the intelligence. It's
They did look stupid.
they looked not stupid looking, but really they looked stupid.
The gargoyles!
Every time they're stoned, they don't speak, thank God, because that would look awful. But they're like, that's the entire interaction of the gargoyle's faces while stoned. And it's just awful. The flying looked quite good, and I liked how things turned into capes. I thought that was a nice visual effect.
And the flying looked comical.
Oh yeah.
We just won. We're flying. We're going away. Look for the ending, and everything looks like, oh god, that looks so fucking stupid.
Also, what do you call the lead in this? Who's that actor?
Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart, that's his name. Aaron Eckhart can't do voiceovers. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
Hey, Frankenstein!
Yeah, this story is being told from my perspective as a cinematic tale, but without a framing device. I'm not going to tell you who I'm talking to right now, but I'm going to
He's clearly talking to us.
I'm going to occasionally drop in and give a small account of my life. I disappeared for 200 years. I was born in 16 simultaneous log cabins. Then I died, and I was stitched together by a madman.
What I want to know is why Frankenstein. Okay, you get him. Okay. This guy does not look like he was stitched together from various different body parts. It looks like a guy who got a bunch of scars over him. Like, he's supposed to be. They even claim he was from 12 different parts of 8 different people. So, I'm sorry, there should be different sections of him that are slightly different skin tones. You should have
different muscular builds and sizes.
Yeah, you should have bits which are like, skin grafts and things. You should have bits where this should not look the way it does.
He looks like a guy who's been cut up a bit and then had his own wounds stitched closed.
Yeah, and
the scars look quite realistic, but not for what they're supposed to be. The
fact that he's got hair made it even worse, because realistic, unless you got the hair as one chunk from one person, then
which makes you wonder why Dr. Frankenstein's really good at scalping.
Yeah, logically he should be bald, or possibly have 1 or 2 different bits of hair, depending on the color, or parts that are bald.
They just have like a triangle of blonde going up through.
Yeah, which would have looked quite striking visually, but they don't give a shit about such things.
Especially, that would have looked even better, because scar tissue on the head leaves a white streak. So it would have had like white lines dividing all the different sections of his hair.
It's like ironically, okay, listen, this actually isn't ironic, but the film, it's not well loved, but Mary Shelley's Frankenstein got the design of how the monster should look pretty much down perfect. It went for all that shit, and it looked horrible.
This looked kind of if you squinted at Daniel Craig with some red Sharpie lines on his face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Frankenstein's monster was far too attractive.
Well, they were going for the sexy Frankenstein thing, which was just a silly idea from the beginning. Twilight has a lot to answer for.
Yes, it does.
Okay, there is literally nothing I can use to defend this. If forced in a small corner with like cattle prods and stuff, I can come up with good things to say about Underworld. 1, Agent Provocateur. 2, the fucking cat suit. 3, I suppose, the absolute fucking ridiculous scene of the woman shooting the ground and her falling through to the next level. And of course,
see, that's the scene on Underworld I have the worst problems with.
I'm saying, for a silly ridiculousness. Yeah. And then lastly, Bill Nye, some of his little mannerisms as the villain in Underworld. Those things I can use to defend Underworld on some level, even though Underworld's a big, huge, hunking pile of shit. This is like that, like Underworld, minus those little bits of tolerance.
What I said about R.I.P.D. was it's the kind of movie that I would watch while enjoying, not thinking too much about it. We then ripped that apart in the vlog, if I remember rightly, but...
R.I.P.D. was better than either of us expected.
Yeah, but this film...
CGI was so bad, though.
I normally do like bad films. I enjoy films that are just a bit shit. But this, I couldn't even enjoy it if I turned my brain off. It was just too... It was like... It's like watching a zany comedy while a large man stands beside you with a gun pressed to your head saying, "You're not allowed to be funny. You're not allowed to find this funny. This isn't funny." it was shot like The Hunchback of Notre Dame meets Daredevil.
Please keep the Underworld team away from making movies.
Yes.
Please.
Also, the music in it was... At one point, they were in a nightclub, and it was quite clearly a popular current song with the treble tracks removed. The music was really rippy-offy of other stuff.
Well, everything was really rippy-offy of other stuff.
Well, yeah, there was a scene lifted directly to Highlander, there was a scene lifted directly to Blade. There was lots of stuff.
Yeah. I realize that because this review is later than everyone else's, that if you want to see it, you've already seen it, but if you haven't already seen it...
Don't bother.
Yeah. Really.
Also, it has a really stupid name that gets name dropped at the end of the movie. I, the defender of humans. I, the ender of the demon prince. I, my father's son. I, Frankenfurt.
The other film, a not very good film, which had I in the title, iRobot. For that one, because with the Will Smith one, they really should have just renamed that iRobot, as in iMac.
Yeah.
That would have been far better. With this one, there's no way around the name, though.
Or just Will Smith tries to be Deckard.
With this one, there's no way to make the name make sense. They really should have called it mystical, gothic hodgepodge of shitness. Volume. There's 4 Underworld films, something like that, or something like that. So like Volume 5, if there are 4. If there are 6 Underworlds, this is Volume 7, etc. Depending on how many Underworld movies there are.
I just realised what the cinematography reminded me of.
Oh God.
The Aragon film.
I have not seen the Aragon film.
It's shit. It's one of the worst book adaptations that has made me kill my brain.
So that sentence got a lot less interesting towards the end.
It is the worst book adaptation I've ever seen, apart from maybe iRobot, because I hated that adaptation. It was like iRobot with all the interesting shit cut out of it.
With that one, well, there's a reason for that. It didn't start off as iRobot. It started off as an independent script that was bought and then altered to be more like iRobot, so they could justify using the title. But that was directed by Alex Proyas, who's usually quite good.
But the cinematography in this was was very reminiscent of the Aragon film, which I hated. But like this, a lot of the shooting was very technically well done.
No.
Not if it was.
No.
I mean, they were shooting shit, but it was technically well shot.
No.
It was a canvas oil painting well framed of shit.
No.
What was it then?
It was a painting made of shit.
I've seen several of those.
You saw one tonight.
They have several of them on display in Ripley's in London. Paintings made of shit.
You saw one tonight.
I did.
So yeah, just bye. Keep away.
Go back to your homes. Remain indoors.